All right, thank you for watching our demo training video today for DomusIQ by Vates Domus AI. We're going to get started with our sign-in, and just keep in mind it's going to be whatever email address that you signed up as or whatever email address your team license was assigned to. We also have a reset password at the bottom, so don't forget about that. Let me show you how that works, by the way. Get my email address right here. So if you forgot your password, all you need to do is just click on Forgot Password. This will actually send you an email reset link to this email address. Make sure you check your spam folder. It does end up there occasionally. So we're going to go ahead and get logged in with my password. And this will take you to the interface to DomusIQ. So one thing to get started right out of the gate, what you're going to want to do if you're a brand new user is go ahead and get your logo uploaded. We'll go to my machine here. I've got a folder out here called DomusIQ. We're going to upload my headshot. And after that, we're going to upload my company logo. You'll use yours, obviously. Most real estate franchises require that you use their logo on all branded paperwork that's handed out to a consumer. So this will show up on the the CMA page, the comparative market analysis. So keep that in mind. Then also fill out your personal information. So this will show up on the CMA as well, so you get credit for whatever work you're doing. And we're going to make up a fake phone number here just for the purpose of the video. Oops. We're going to use the same phone number for everything. We're going to call it DomusIQ Demo. Just make up an address for me. And this will be your office address, most likely, Suite 6. We'll say I'm in Morehead City, North Carolina, 28557, then save those changes. And I'll show you in a minute where all this information shows up, so it will be important for you. So to get started with MLS GPT is where we're going to spend most of our time today. We're going to go through the CMA from scratch and the tax record search also. But on the zip code search, literally just type in the zip code of an area you're interested in. We're going to take a look at Atlantic Beach, North Carolina. And this will actually bring back the top 250 listings in the area sorted by price. There could be, in cases, there could be more than 250. So, for instance, if we go to 28202, which is a Charlotte zip code, it's going to cap out. But we actually do deduplication. So instead of getting 250, we may have gotten 250 results back, but we had to deduplicate them, so they're not all going to show up. But we can actually come in here and click on the property, the URL, which is what this is, the listing ID or the MLS ID, and you'll be able to see that it pulls up the property card so you can get some more information about it. And you can also go here and view the full listing, which will take you to realty.com, who is our broker of record. Now, what you can also do is come through here and select these properties, and you can select up to 10 of these properties and chat with them. And you can do this on every interface that we have under MLS GPT. So you can actually come in here and say chat with these properties, and you can say summarize these properties. And it gives you some Ask AI ideas. You can freeform text whatever you want here. Summarize these properties for my buyer, my potential buyer. And it will actually go through and take a look at all 10 of those and come up with either a table or even sometimes an email. But you can ask it to generate an email for you to save you time. So we'll let this think for a second. Okay, so it came back with our response on this, and it gave us a pretty nice format. And it kind of goes through some of the details of the properties, the general overview. So this is good, but not much we can do with this right now. So what we can also do is come in and say, my buyer is new to the area. Can you highlight the annual events that occur in the county and nearby towns worth a visit? So we're going to let that run. Okay, so that's come back, and now we can actually see that it gives us some of the stuff that's nearby that might be worth a visit throughout the year. Annual events in Mecklenburg County, summer events, fall festival, winter, nearby towns and regions worth a visit. And it'll go through distance, about how far away they are from the properties and some of the things you can actually do. And then we want to take all this now and draft a buyer email. So we're going to take all this information and put it into an email for our potential buyer. Okay, so that's complete. So now we've actually got a table. It created a table for us with all of the primary information about the properties. It also goes into detail about each property in the text, and then experience, Charlotte, and annual events in nearby gyms. So it'll actually include some other information, and all you need to do is copy this by clicking this little paper at the bottom, and it will. You can paste this into an email and just fill out your information and go from there. Okay, now we're going to look at another option, which is address search. So if you have a specific property in mind, you can narrow the field just a little bit instead of doing a map search or a zip code search. So we're going to look at one in Atlantic Beach, North Carolina. Oops, Moonlight Drive. And we'll get a table back, and you'll see that you will get multiple results back, but the one that you're looking for should be in there. So you'll be able to zoom in on this one and figure it out. So this is to kind of narrow if you've got a property that hasn't been on the market in a while, or hasn't been on the market in a long time. If for cases where the property's never been on the market before, you can actually do a CMA from scratch, and we'll go into that in just a second. So the other one I want to show you is map search. So you can actually do a zip code. Let's see if we can't do 28512, which is Atlantic Beach, North Carolina. That will take you to the center of the zip code, but it'll get you closer to the area that you're looking at. Also, you can put in the neighborhood name, and if the neighborhood is known to Google Maps, it will actually find it for you. Newport, North Carolina. So we can look at Canonsgate, and what it did is that happens to be Canonsgate right there. So it centered the map on Canonsgate, and you can flip between map and satellite, so you can actually get an idea of what you're looking for. So then we can actually draw a polygon around Canonsgate, which is about right here. Create a nice little polygon just so we can focus on Canonsgate, and submit that, and then we'll get every property in Canonsgate that's up for sale. So we'll let that run for a second. So we got 32 active listings, 7 pending listings. We've got some sold listings. We also have some failed listings. Failed listings are the MLS data where it shows the MLS status of failed, which could mean canceled, could mean expired, or it was just taken off the market for some reason. So in the last sold date is the only information we have in the MLS for this. So we can see we had one fail on January 19th, 2026. This may be going away in the future, but I'd say take advantage of it for now while it's being used. And same thing with these. You can go through and select a single property and chat with it, or select up to 10. So that's a good way for you to kind of narrow in to do research on a subdivision. Just put in the subdivision name and the city and state, and then draw your polygon around it. We also have MLS search. So this one's a little bit different. So this one is a natural language search query, where you can say, show me single-family homes in Charlotte, North Carolina. They're at least 3,000 square feet. So we actually parse that and turn it into what would be a query that pulls back the MLS data. We'll let that run. So what this will actually do is it'll pull back basically everything that is greater than 3,000 square feet in Charlotte. Now, if you want to narrow that even more, we have filters built in, so you can actually see that we say, well, we really want a max living area of 3,000 square feet, just because the homeowner doesn't want to clean more than that. And you'll see that we do have one that meets that criteria. So these filters will be useful if you want to narrow the search even more after you've done that. You can also come in and say, with at least 5 bedrooms. Which you would expect that anything that's that many square feet probably does have 5 bedrooms. But you can add a little bit more to it. And there are some samples here to give you a better idea. So you can come in and say, show me single-family homes in Raleigh, North Carolina between 2 and 3 bedrooms and 1,500 to 2,000 square feet built after 2010. So that way you can get just a little bit narrower on your search. You can also do a zip code search. Show me condos in 2802 that are between 2 and 3 bedrooms and at least 900 square feet. So you can use zip code search, you can use condos, you can use mobile homes even. So show me mobile homes in zip code 28570 that are at least 2 bedrooms with 3 baths. And that will be in there. Technically, if it's an MLS status like townhome, condominium, single family, that's what you'll put here. So that way you'll know that you have some options. Land works sometimes. The reason I have a problem with land occasionally is that the MLS data isn't updated correctly with the property type or sub-property type of land. So sometimes they'll show up and sometimes they won't. A better way, if you're looking for an area to find land in, you could actually just do a zip code search under map search, zero in on an area, figure out where they want to be, and then just do a polygon search. And if there's land there, we will pull it back. So if we just do an area in Newport and come back with that, we'll actually get, so in that case, there's no active listings failed, but there are some failed listings out here, which there happens to be one for land from last year. Because you'll see that it shows living area, days on market, yearbook, subdivision, but you'll see sometimes it shows up as land, sometimes it'll show up as other. So it really depends on how the MLS data was populated, but map search may be a better way to go if you're looking for land properties, or just pull in a specific address if you want to go there. Next thing I want to talk about is the CMA from scratch. This is for properties that have never been in the MLS, so the data is so outdated you want to start over. So it does take a few minutes to fill this out, and you'll see that the ones that have a red asterisk by them are mandatory fields. So you can go from there. But what I want to show you before we get into the CMA from scratch is what does the CMA actually look like. So we're going to go back to 28512 and pick on one property just to do a CMA from. So what you can do, and you can do this from all the property cards. So when you click on a property card, you're always going to see this button that says Generate CMA. So this is going to load you, and this is a commercial property because this whole thing is for sale. But what it's going to do is take the information out of the dashboard that I showed you before, and it's going to populate the top of this so you can get credit for it. And then you'll go through and get information from the MLS, basically the details of everything that we know about this property, including the tax record. You will get mortgage information. This is the average mortgage information for the state of North Carolina. This isn't backed by a specific bank. This is a ballpark idea, and they're estimates only. Just to give you an idea, if give you or a buyer or a seller an idea of what it would cost if somebody were to get a loan on this for a specific down payment. And there are average points by down as well. Like I said, this isn't backed by a bank. This is just an average for the state. So your bank may be a little bit different. Also, if the association fee shows up here, we will load it into the association fee so you can get an idea of what that is. Sometimes in the MLS listings, you'll see that the association fee is the annual fee. Sometimes you'll see that it is the monthly fee. I can't derive which one it is, so I gave you the option to change the association fee as monthly or association fee as yearly on the mortgage table. If it's yearly, we just take it out because we assume they're going to pay it on an annual basis. Then you will get a map at the bottom, basically another Google map that's interactive, and you'll see your subject property and where it's at, and then you can see all the comparables behind it, around it. So we can take a look at this and see what the property type is. They actually listed this as living area. Let's see here, garage story. Commercial sale is the type. So probably what's going to happen is we chose a group of comparables that meet the criteria. But what I want to show you is they actually put in the square footage as 0 because this is a commercial property. So it's a little bit of a weird duck. But it's going to compare it to other properties that are all over the place. It's because it didn't know what to do with what it came back with. So let's look at another one just to give you an idea. But you could run a CMA on a commercial property if you can find some comparables. So let's look at a different one that's a little bit more fun to look at. This was a nice house. So same information, 121 Sound Drive. This looks like a nice house that we can take a look at. We got the tax record information back from the public tax office. And always double check this because we know there's mistakes in the tax record sometime. This one doesn't have an association fee associated with it, and you can see that if we zoom out, we can see where it's at, and we can find the comparables. Now, let me show you how I get to the comparables. The scatter plot is fairly obvious. You're all used to seeing these. Some people call them scatter plots. Some people call them scattergrams. But you can get an idea of the houses that are near that type. So the way that I choose the comparables is I'll pull the active properties that have, in this case, a 5-mile radius. I'll search up to 13 miles. But in this case, it's a radius of 5 miles that have within 5 miles of the GPS coordinates of the subject property. Within 20% smaller, 20% larger of the subject property that are the same property type and property subtype. Now it's up to you as a realtor to go through and choose which of the comparables do you want to compare this to. So, and you'll see that, if we look at the map, this is a fairly tight area where there's a lot of cities that are close by. So it actually did pull properties from the other cities that are nearby. And sometimes if there's a limited number of comparables, you may want to choose some of those. Depending on like a intercoastal waterway in Atlantic Beach may be a comparable to an intercoastal waterway in Morehead City. But you have to figure that out, and you can click on the property card and figure that out by clicking on the URL, the listing ID or the MLS ID. So you can dig into that property and go, yeah, this is comparable, this isn't. So we're just going to choose a few from Atlantic Beach just to show you. Obviously, you would do more research than I'm doing. Pine Knoll Shores is close. We'll go ahead and choose those. And now what we're going to do, and you have the ability to pull the current active and current sold listings. And you can do the MLS date search by here, so you can actually see when the last activity on the MLS was or when it was sold. But then what we can do after that is done, after you choose the comparables, then you can generate a CMA. This will create an AI-generated CMA, which will give you advice, description, in comparison to the comparables in the table. So we're going to let that run, and we'll come right back. Okay, so our CMA is back, and you can actually see the first thing we get is the property overview and market position. Gives you details about the property, price analysis, price per square foot, average, median, and the range. Lower outliers, properties like 102 Freeman for $775 and 201 Hoop Pole Creek are significantly below the average. This is primarily due to their older age and lack of direct waterfront. Upper outlier, and typically what happens when it's called something an outlier, it'll exclude it from the CMA. So keep that in mind. Price recommendation for this one is 2.4. It's listed at 2.4 million with a price per square foot of 727. So it'll go through tax assessed value consideration, because when we do the CMA, we actually pass in the tax record, which obviously we know is not correct, but at least AI has a sense of what the tax information is. But you'll see in this case, it was tax assessed at $589, and it has in bold here, this does not represent the market value of a completed luxury construction. So it realizes there's a deficiency. Recommended price range, it goes to 2.3 to 2.4. Property characteristics and comparisons, it'll actually call out the other properties that it did compare it to give you an idea of why your property is better or why your property may suffer compared to another one. Location advantages and disadvantages, it goes through all of this. Market trends and timing. Timing recommendations for listing, school districts and transportation, location, competitive advantages, disadvantages, recommendations, it goes through the price again, marketing strategies for the recommendations, it'll give you a little bit of information on how to market the property, which you can use many tools for this, but it wants to make sure it's your checklist for getting a good job marketing. Property improvements that it could increase value. So timing recommendations for optimal sale, and then it'll go through risk factors. Once all of this is done, you can actually come up here to the top and click on print and save this as a PDF or print this out. And the way that the print works is we give all the information about the property that you saw on the CMA page, including the map, and the comparables for everything that met the criteria that is nearby. These are more than just the comparables you chose, plus the AI-generated summary, as well as when you go to the bottom, you'll actually see the property cards for everybody that you chose as a comparable. So, and these are the selected comparables, which we chose 6. So you can print this out. We are working on a consumer version of this in the future, but right now, this is a guide for a realtor to actually use. So back to this, excuse me. We can go to tax record search, because sometimes if you've got a property that hasn't been on the market in a long time, you may have to do something from scratch. And an easy way to do that is to pull the tax record. So we're going to look at, I'm just going to make up an address here that we're going to use. Morehead City. It is a real address. It's not a made-up address, but we're going to use 128557. So this will pull the tax record. So in this case, I missed it. So it's going to be Village Green Drive, search tax records, and it will see that we actually do come back with it. So what you can do is you will have all the information from the tax record that we have. So what you can do now is take this and create a CMA from scratch. And what it will do is preload all the information into the CMA from scratch for you. This one happens to be a condominium, but we're going to call it a single family because there's a low number of condominiums here. So it's hard to get comparables. And then property features, your estimated list price on what you think the property should be valued at. We're going to click New. Be very specific in the public remarks. That's extremely important. AI uses the public remarks from your property, the subject property, and all the comparables to make determinations on adjustments. because whether you realize it or not, if there's an adjustment in the property, it will show up in the public remarks. And make sure that your property description is very, very detailed. So we're going to leave the rest of this as it is, and we're just going to go ahead and continue to the CMA form. There is an option on the CMA form, if you look, where you can actually upload the photo. I didn't do that. But if you look under choose file right here, property photo, the property photo will populate here. I didn't choose one, so it's just going to show no image. And then same thing here. It's going to go through and give you all the information about the property, the location, and then where the comparables that AI actually found that are nearby. But I did it as a single family, so it's showing up a little bit lower than it should. And then you can go through and tease out which of these you actually want to compare it to. And so by clicking on this, and then you can even generate a CMA from here if you're like, ooh, I want to do a CMA on that one. You can do that as well. So that's kind of the bulk of the product. We also have MLS chat. This is a bit redundant. It actually does exist here. So MLS search chat and MLS chat, it's the same thing. Search by map is the same thing. The difference here is you can't chat with these properties like you did with these, where we could choose, we could choose 10 properties. We're probably going to be getting rid of the MLS chat and the search by map pretty soon, because we've already got them under MLS GPT. So I hope you enjoyed the demo. If you have any questions, always feel free to reach out, and you can contact me. If you have my email address, feel free to contact me. You can email us at info@vatesdomus.com. If you want to schedule a meeting with me, you can go to the contact page and click on schedule a meeting. That will drop a 30-minute invite on my calendar, and it will send you a meeting for whenever you want to meet. Always happy to meet with new customers. Love talking about the product, and I love learning more about what your day is like and how we can make this product better. Thank you.